Ming's finest. Definitely one of the most solid bodies. Yeah, I picked this up as a not perfect X demo. So far, I put an alloy barrel in it and put a suppressor on it. Yeah. These mags are a bit shit, just have trouble feeding. J10 mags are where it's at.
Nice.
That looks beastly. And they feed flawlessly. All I have done to this is changed out the inner barrel. This is the travesty that lives in here.
It's garbage!
Plastic barrels are awful. Get rid of them. T-piece, $5 Australian if you're not even trying to find a bargain. And like, look at the state of that. What the fuck is that? That's like when they've glued it, it's ruined. Can boil these in water. Get a cup of boiling water, run that under hot water, run your cup under, just keep manipulating it out of boiling water. Will come out. I just bought another T-piece. It's just so much easier. Yeah, 40 centimeter barrel. That's the only thing I've done to this. Averages, 290, 300 feet a second. Just for a barrel. It was more like 220, 240 with the plastic garbage. Get yourself an alloy barrel. I'm going to do a little experiment. Alloy barrel. We'll do a green O-ring, cylinder head nozzle, M90 spring. I reckon this will go pretty well on an 11 volt. After that video, I have this. It's a Gen 9 ARP charging handle, stumpy buttstock, stumpy. Everything's stumpy, but okay, tactical gearbox. I'm going to do what we can with this, and then, because I've got so many M4s, never use this, ever. I just built it out of stuff. It's a stuff build. I had all these parts doing fuck all, and I built something because I wanted to make use of them. I'm going to get the MK box out of this, into that with a brushless motor, and then I'm going to basically make a stock Gen 9 with all the upgrades just as a loaner blaster. Like, oh, yours broke. Here you go. Go and have fun. Bring it back to me. If you break it, I don't care. But I'm going to put that in that, and I'm going to put your nylon box in that. Change it up a little bit. Might be a nice little project. Righto. Let's talk about buying a cheap blaster. So, it's in there. Buy a cheap blaster and make it not shit, because it's quite possible. Nice alloy one makes a big difference, especially in Ming terms. The old ACR was one of my first blasters. This is the 7.62 mag version, which came kind of at the end of Jin Ming's notoriety, I guess you'd say. One thing I did like about Jin Ming is they're a good little foray. Their nylon gears are decent. This only has 3 screws down there. That's interesting. I just mark the one that didn't have one, because there may be a reason in the gearbox. There might be a wire running through there, and if you put a screw in there, it could ruin it. Yeah, with these, it's a bit of wire in here. You kind of put this rear of the buttstock in at the same time. Pull them out. Anyway, and all those screws just happily stay in there. It's convenient. Soldering's not always good on these. But anyway, here we have a very generic, standard Jin Ming. Bit heavier spring than the original Gen 9 came with. How much seal does it have? Finger over this. Almost none. About what I expected. A lot of people start on a nylon box. Don't be too rough. with the screws when you put them back strip. That's bad. The beauty of a nylon gearbox is if you don't overstress them, they'll last a very long time. These are actually ideal beginner blasters because they give you a bit of a foray into working on a blaster without spending a lot of money and potentially ruining something expensive. You're about to pop it apart. I would suggest split it and then just push down on your gear shafts and your anti-reverse latch. Maybe your trigger, but in true Ming fashion, very little in the way of shimming. Actually looks like a nice stainless return spring. Pretty tight. It's a very standard Ming affair. Zero sealing at all. Expected nothing from that. I thought I had an M90. I do not. I'm going to use a spring out of a JG Works. Let's see, just for shiggles. They typically do about 280, 290. Yeah. But nice O-ringed brass cylinder head and nozzle for a Ming. Green O-rings are abundant. They're everywhere. Don't need a lot of oil. Just nice little coating. They're perfect for a Ming. That is quite sharp. They're a cheap blaster. You got to save money somewhere, right? Let's say we don't have the brassy. A bit of silicone oil. Yep. Not bad. I can kind of hear it leaking out in that. I'm just going to clean these up. They're a bit sharp.
A few moments later.
That's better. Yeah, I'm not going to ruin an O-ring when I put it in. I'm not going to get cut when I shove my finger on it either. Cheap blaster. Got to save money somewhere. Don't need much. Just a little bit of lube. Helps it go in.
Giggity giggity. Giggity goo. Stick around.
You don't necessarily need a double O-ring, but will help. Yeah. That's a seal. Just not a lot of oil. Just some. Yeah. If you want to test your seal, you want to test all of your seal. Let's get out the return spring. As I say all the time, you want to test things in as close to the final form as things get. Finger on there, kind of difficult to hold it all. It's popping out. Look at that.
Yeah, boy.
So, nozzle, cylinder head, get your O-ring right, test that. A lot of newer blasters, you won't need to change that. Even that, unlike your NCs, JGs, LDXs, nozzle's pretty good. O-rings are normally pretty ordinary. Is there any shim under that? No, it's a Ming. These, for nylon, pretty tough gears. Best thing you can do with these is just give them a good seal, 11 volt, an M90 spring, and an alloy barrel. Plastic barrel these come with, just useless. And your reverse latch, all that there, I'm just holding the shaft. Just going to be one of these that doesn't stay there. Trigger, bit of spring in there. God, the springs on these are ridiculous. Oh! Make life a little easier. You're supposed to be quick and easy. There we go. I always win somehow. Let's see how the standard spring goes. I use that and just key it with that. Give it a wiggle jiggle. And there we are. This is the part of an ACR I hate. Do you think I can get my fingers down there? I cannot tell you how many times I've done one of these. Only to forget to put the buttstock on at the same time. I'm the sort of knob who goes straight for an 11 volt. Sounds like a Ming. For a cheap blaster, I'll definitely give it to them. They go together pretty nicely. There we go. Right, let's chrono. Not with that.
It's garbage!
J10. Righto. Well, that looks ordinary, but geez, pretty average. Like it, basically 285, 275, pretty much all the time. At a bit of a low of 260 and a max of that. Standard spring. These were rated as 260 feet a second from the manufacturer when they came out. My experience was, up to 270, but most were about 240, 260. That mag sucks. Use the J11 or the J12 one. But yeah, that works pretty well. But just that in an alloy barrel, nice and consistent. Put a hop up on that, you'd be pretty happy with that fire rate. I guarantee if that's your first blaster, 11 volt, cylinder head, nozzle, alloy barrel, O-ring, you'll be quite happy. You'll get out on a field, you'll get playing. That sort of consistency and a tuned hop up, you're going to be very happy. Have a great time for stuff or money. I reckon if you can pick one up for fuck all like I did, banging value for O-ring and a cylinder head and TP solo barrel, and maybe $20. That 30, like if that, like. And an 11 volt battery, you're going to have a great time. M90 spring with a 40 centimeter barrel is going to do over 300. Nice easy upgrade.